Audio check, testing the audio. Audio check. Okay, great. Glad you can hear me. That's very good. We're trying a little bit of new technology today, so a little bit different than normal. Just trying to make sure that all of my tech is working here and that everything's going how it's supposed to. Okay. Lori, I don't know what interaction we said that we were going to have. I'm sorry if we promised something. I'm not sure exactly what that would be, but I'm sure you're right. So do you know what you were hoping for? We'll have a Q&A at the end of the event, right at the end of the presentation. We'll go right into a Q&A. So I'm not sure if that's what you were referring to. Okay, good. Jimmy. Hi, Judy. Welcome. Okay, we've got about 4 minutes here. I just want to make sure everybody can hear me. I see lots of comments here on Facebook. Anybody on YouTube? I see Barbara's letting me know that she's here. Hi, Barbara. Can everyone hear me on YouTube? Are we good to go there? We are trying some new tech to avoid. Okay, maybe what? All right, Lori. Well, I hope I hope that me chatting with you was what you're expecting. A fun quiz. Oh, we put in that we have a fun quiz. Well, we used to have a fun quiz, but honestly, I got really bored with it. We could do some if you like. I don't know if we actually want to, but let's see if I have any of them here. For those of you who are hoping for a fun quiz, I got some questions here. Let's see. All right, you ready? Here it is, Joe. How are the first three Social Security numbers derived? The first three numbers of your Social Security, where do they come from? Is it the zip code of your city of birth, the zip code of the issuing Social Security office? Is it random, or is it the state where you were born? There you go. If you want to put in your in the chat what you think it is, A, B, or C, or D, go ahead and toss it in there. Now here's the fun part. It's been so long since we've done it. Do I remember the answer? Because it is no longer, I don't have my cheat sheet here anymore. Let's see. Let's see if I can find my cheat sheet. I'm sure it's around here somewhere. It's kind of hilarious that I don't remember the answer though. I believe it's the issuing Social Security office is the correct answer. For those of you who are curious, it's the issuing Social Security office. Let's see if I can pick one that I remember the answer to. Yeah, here we go. I know this one. Okay, prisoners still receive Social Security benefits. A, true? My tech team is telling me that I got the right answer, so I got the right answer. All right, good. True? B, if they're sentenced less than 30 days, or C, false? What do you think? Just put in an A, B, C, or D, or whatever. There's no D this time. Just A, B, or C. Take a guess. Have some fun. It's a quiz. This is not the type of quiz where there's no wrong answers. There are absolutely wrong answers. That is a fact. I don't know what just popped up on the screen there, but there we go. Okay, the answer is B, actually. If they're sentenced less than 30 days, they are allowed to keep receiving benefits. So the answer is actually B. Otherwise, it's false. You know, there is sort of a system where you can send your benefits to somebody else, and so from that perspective, it's sort of true. But the rules are, I don't have those memorized. All right, we're about ready to go. All of our text messages should be out. So I see we have lots of people joining in here. I do want to give them a chance to get settled in, but we'll go ahead and start with some introductions. Welcome everyone to an Einstein Retirement Workshops presentation. My name is Kyle McCauley, and I am a national presenter here at Einstein Retirement Workshops. And so welcome. We're glad to have you. This is our most popular presentation that we do. We also do presentations on taxes. That's our next most popular one. And then we do a daily podcast, and we like to put out information to help those who are gearing up for or already retired. And so that's our focus. We do presentations across the country. We are, for the first time since you know what hit the hit the country, ever since COVID and all the travel restrictions and the gatherings and all that stuff. We are doing our first live presentation in over a year, I think in next week or 2 weeks from now. So we do occasionally go out into the country. You might see you at a community center or a library or a university or something like that. But we've been very honored to continue to do these workshops in this live stream format, and it's something that we've gotten great feedback about, and so we're honored that you're here. We know you get a lot out of today's presentation. Einstein Retirement Workshops is an educational organization, and so we do encourage you to, just like anything else, enjoy our content. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow our Facebook page, all of that good stuff. Okay, my clicker's working now. By way of an agenda, so here's how we're going to spend our time together. We're going to spend just over an hour today covering the topic of Social Security. And we will do our very best job to cover as many things as is going to be meaningful to the most of you that we can pull off in our roughly hour time together. Social Security law is more than 2,600 pages. I can't cover everything, obviously, and that's why we do have a Q&A portion at the end of our presentation time. So if I don't cover your questions about Social Security, we do invite you to engage in our Q&A portion. Again, right at the end of the presentation, we will do that. You'll simply type your questions into the chat, whether you're on Facebook or YouTube, either one. You type those questions in, and we will be able to do that. My tech team is telling me to get rid of an intro banner. I don't know how to do that. I didn't put an intro banner on. So I don't have an intro banner, as far as I can tell. Tech team, you're gonna have to figure it out. Maybe you need to click hide on the captions, maybe, if you go into the captions. Okay. Sorry, my tech team's telling me to do stuff, but I can't do it. Okay. All right. We'll also, right at the end of the presentation, we'll talk about how you can get access to our Social Security filing workbook. We know that many of you are looking forward to getting that workbook. We do want to make it available to you, and we'll talk about how you can request it there again, right at the end of the presentation. Okay. I got to go back here. Okay. My name is Kyle McCauley. We are trying some new tech. I don't know if I said that earlier, but we're trying some new tech, and I think you're seeing a little bit of wrinkles with that. We're figuring it out, so I appreciate you bearing with me. The goal is we've had times in the past where the video feed has dropped, unfortunately, and we had to relaunch it and all that kind of stuff. So it's intended to try and avoid all of those types of problems, so hopefully we don't have that issue, but obviously we're still working out the kinks on our end. Okay, my name's Kyle McCauley. I'm the managing partner of City Center Financial. I share that with you so you understand my perspective when I do this presentation. I'm also a chartered retirement planning counselor, an accredited portfolio management advisor, and also a national Social Security advisor certified professional. Okay, I share my background and experience in education with you just so you understand that when I do this presentation, my focus, the things that I'm thinking about when I'm discussing these topics with you today, is other clients. You know, our firm's a retirement planning firm, so I'm really thinking of clients of ours that we have helped make really good, high-quality Social Security filing decisions within the context of their retirement plans. We are not employed by, nor are we affiliated with the Social Security Administration. A purpose of our presentation is to actually give you advice about your benefits. It's not to sign you up, okay? So we're not going to do that. We are able to give you advice about your benefits because of our registered investment advisory firm, City Center Advisors. Again, our goal here today is to give you and lend you some of our experience in helping folks just like you make these decisions in the most advantageous way possible. And so we're able to do that because we are a registered investment advisory firm, and we think you'll find this presentation to be very helpful. Why is Social Security such a hot topic? Well, every day, roughly speaking, 10,000 new folks are qualifying for Social Security and Medicare. That's about 280,000 people in a month. It's 3.64 million new folks every year who are qualifying for benefits. Maybe another way of saying it would be to say that these are folks who are now retired. They're no longer paying taxes into the system, those FICA taxes. They're now actually drawing dollars out of the system. And so it brings up concerns. People get concerned about things like insolvency. That seems like a lot of money. Will there be a benefit for me? And so we want to talk about that. We'll spend some time on that. What does Social Security mean for you? Well, you know, 65% of middle income Americans do derive more than 50% of their retirement income from their Social Security benefits. Now that's true, obviously, for those who maybe haven't done a great job of saving other forms of retirement income, but it's also true for those who have. So if you've done a good job of maybe accumulating or acquiring a pension benefit, putting dollars into a 401k plan or IRA types of accounts, or brokerage account dollars, or you've bought some real estate and are getting some income there, whatever your situation, even if you've built up some of those other savings, even still, because Social Security benefits are here, and in many cases they can be quite good, we're seeing many folks deriving, yes, more than 50% of their retirement income from those Social Security dollars. It is not uncommon for us to see a married couple, between the two of them, to have 50, 60, 70, sometimes more in combined benefits by the time they've both filed for those benefits. Social Security has been enhanced in terms of its importance within a retirement plan because we have seen many companies eliminate pensions, freeze pension benefits. Unfortunately, we have seen some pension benefits get cut after they've already started, and so that has enhanced the the importance for many folks of those Social Security dollars within their retirement plan. Lastly, 46% of Americans today pass away with less than $10,000 to their name. Now, that statistic is not there to frighten you. What it is there for is to highlight one of the key features of Social Security. You see, you insure all the important financial things in your life. You insure your house, your car, your health. I assume you insure all those things. I hope you do. But the question would be, do you insure your retirement? Okay, another very important financial thing. Yeah, of course. Okay? Now, you may not have framed it in like this, but Social Security, when you frame it in properly and you think about, okay, what do these benefits mean to me? How are they going to work for me? The way to properly view and frame these benefits in is as retirement income insurance, or there you could say longevity insurance. Okay? Longevity insurance, because no matter how long you live, so long as you're still living and you qualified for a Social Security benefit, you are eligible to continue to receive benefits. Even if you're that person with less than $10,000 to your name, you still would at least have those Social Security dollars coming into you. That could be pretty important these days because folks are living a lot longer, oftentimes much longer than they ever really expected to. If you're a married couple age 65, gentlemen, you have a 50% chance of making it all the way to 92. Ladies, you have a 50% chance of making it all the way to 97. Now, my grandparents are a good sort of case study for this of people living longer than expected, because my granddaddy, who passed away towards the end of last year, not COVID, just old age, he was 92. He actually lived exactly to this life expectancy here. Now, normally you'd say, well, what's the big deal, Kyle? Except he had 4 heart attacks and 3 bypass surgeries before the age of 75. If you had asked him at 75, hey, Granddaddy, well, you wouldn't call him Granddaddy, you'd call him Herschel or Scotty, depending on how close you were to him. Do you think you'll make it to your 90s? He'd have smiled, shook his head, and said, I don't think so. Because, you know, he just never would have expected to make it that long. But between medical technology and, quite frankly, my granny, who's still living, she turns 91 this year, or she already turned 91 now this year. Between those two factors, he made it. He lived all the way to 92 despite these health issues. And so people are living, in many cases, much longer than expected. And you should factor that possibility in when you're thinking about how these benefits could be important to you over your lifetime. Now, I don't know if you can live as long as this gal. This is Kane Tanaka. She's 118 years of age. We're over halfway through the year. She turns, her birthday's in January, so we'll see if she makes it to 119. She is from Japan. And interestingly, of the last 5 oldest living people, 4 of them are actually from Japan. So, you know, I just want to point out that if you're thinking about relocating, you know, it might be a good place to go. All right, here's what we're going to focus on. We're going to talk about some basics about how your benefits work, how they're calculated. We'll talk about strategies for those of you who are married, options for those of you who are divorced, and for those of you who are widowed. And if you fall asleep somewhere in the middle, please do wake up in time for taxes. I can tell you our organization has now helped more than 5,000 folks make high quality Social Security decisions just over the last year. And so we have a lot of experience in looking at this. It's a complicated issue, so I do want to make sure we spend enough time. Okay, I believe we're back. Sorry for that. Okay, I don't know where you lost me exactly, but what I was saying is if there's one single item that's going to change the way that we deal with these benefits around taxes, the way that you file for benefits, it's going to be the tax issue. We have to deal with the fact that taxes are very likely to affect the majority, if not all of you. And when we make our Social Security filing decision, we have to be very cognizant of this factor when we're making these decisions. So that's going to be a key important point that we want to cover, and I want to make sure we have enough time to do that. Okay, if in order to qualify for a Social Security benefit, you need to have 40 credits. 40 credits works out to 10 years worth of work. The way that your 10 years worth of work comes into play is that if you have 40 credits, meaning you've earned at least $1,470 in a calendar quarter, you can earn up to 4 per year. That's 4 per year times 10 years of work would give you your 40 credits. Now, if you don't know if you have 40 credits, it's pretty easy to find out these days. All you have to do is you go to the Social Security website, that is ssa.gov. You sign up for a My Social Security login, and it will have, right when you log in, one of the very first things it'll have is several green bars going across, and if there's a green check at the end, you qualify for a Social Security benefit. So if you're not sure, easy to check. Once you have qualified for a benefit, the way your benefit is calculated is by using the highest 35 years of indexed earnings. Okay, need to check something here. Make sure my audio is still good. I'm being told that my audio is a little off. So we're going to try something here real quick. Here we can. I don't know if I can do anything about it. I'm going to change my audio source. This is for my tech team. Is this better if I drop it down slightly? Is that better? Please, tech team, let me know. Let's see how it goes. Apparently the lapel mic stopped working when we had our blip here. Just waiting for confirmation that my audio is good. If I need to boost it or leave it where it is. Now it's not loud enough. Okay, let's check that one. How are we doing with that? Okay. This is much smoother, believe it or not, than it was last week, for those of you who aren't sure. Okay, all right, we're going to go with this one. All right, so the highest 35 years, indexed earnings. It's not the most consecutive 35 years. It's not the most recent 35 years. It's the highest 35 years no matter when they occurred. So you could have 10 years worth of work, take 5 years off, work another 25, and you're good. You have your highest 35. It doesn't matter that there's a gap in there. Now, it's the highest 35 years of indexed earnings, and what that means is that if you wanted to calculate your Social Security benefit and you wanted to know, hey, how much is my income worth in years gone by, what you would need to do is you would need to take those earnings from those years and plug them into an indexing table. Okay, that indexing table is available in our Social Security filing workbook. So that workbook that we're going to send you will have in it an indexing table. So all you would have to do if you want to see what the earnings, say in 1980, are worth in today's dollars, what you would do is you'd take whatever your income was in 1980, so page 3 of your Social Security statement would have that number, and maybe that number says $20,000. Well, what you do is you take that $20,000, you put it on your indexing table in the workbook, and you would see that you should multiply it by 4 and change. So $20,000 earned in the year 1980 is worth a little more than $80,000 in today's dollars. So What that means is that if you are doing additional work this year and you're not earning more than $80,000, and let's say hypothetically your lowest income year in the past was $20,000 in 1980, then your work now is not replacing that income. So you're not increasing your benefit for the future. Now, you're not hurting your benefit, you're just not getting any increases for that work. On the flip side, if you don't have all 35 years, let's say you have 25 years worth of work, well, any additional work that you're doing going forward is replacing a zero and should have a pretty good size impact in terms of increasing your benefit down the road. Two major provisions that we want to be cognizant of when it comes to things that could reduce your Social Security benefit. Okay, I'm getting pretty close to knocking off the last three bullet points because they almost never apply. Now, not universally, but almost never. Military service, you'd have to have been in the military a long time ago, and I mean a really long time ago, like probably your parents' age a long time ago. Railroad employees are affected, but most of you already know that. State and local governments, some of them opt out, but it's actually the same provision as our top bullet point here. So our top bullet point, if you are dealing with what is called a non-covered pension, a non-covered pension is a pension that you earn while you are not paying taxes into the Social Security system. So you take the pension dollars, and let's say you also earned a Social Security benefit. Well, if it's your own Social Security benefit, you're dealing with the windfall elimination provision. The windfall elimination provision, what you would do is you would, again, use our workbook, and in there is a calculation that you can use to determine, based on the number of years of substantial earnings on Social Security you have, how much your pension is reducing your Social Security benefit. That one's the more complex of the two. The one that is less complex is the government pension offset. The government pension offset works like this. If you have a non-covered pension, and when you go to file that non-covered pension, and then you try to file, say, a spousal or an ex-spousal Social Security benefit, the government pension offset says that 2/3 of your pension dollars count against your Social Security. If that number is negative or zero, then you get nothing. Okay? It is possible for the GPO, government pension offset, to reduce Social Security to nothing. It is not possible for the windfall elimination provision to do it. Now, if you're very upset by these two provisions, just know that there's currently a bill in Congress that is looking to try and eliminate those. So if you'd like to solicit your Congress people and say, hey, support this, then you know it's out there. Okay. I think you know this, but if you don't, you've paid a lot of money into the Social Security system. About 6.2% of your pay has been going into the system over the last 10, 20, 30, 40, however many years you've been working. Your employers match that for a total of 12.4% of your pay. And so I think if you could imagine an account somewhere with 12.4% of your pay in it over however long you've been working, that might be a sizable chunk of change. You apply even a little bit of interest to it, and it might be a heck of a big pile of money. And so, maybe I'm preaching to the choir because you're here, but it is absolutely worth doing the planning to maximize what you get out of this system. Now, today's contributions that are going into the system, I don't know why we put contributions. I guess it's a contribution. It's a tax, the FICA taxes. So the FICA taxes flowing in. I've said that so many times, and I've never thought, gosh, contributions sounds so nice. The taxes flowing into this system today are paid out today, right now. Your dollars are not going into some kind of special account for you. That is not how this works. What happens is that the taxes you pay into the system are going out to pay current recipients right now. And unfortunately, right now, we are in a deficit. We've been in a deficit since 2010. And this is not the first time. This is the second time since 1983. And we're fully funded right now on the current plan through the year 2035. In the year 2036, we're funded roughly 75 cents on the dollar thereafter. Now, this is not the first time that Social Security has been broke, as I said previously, and they will fix the system. Now, right now, the way that we are covering our debt, because we're underfunded technically right now, is that when we were overfunded, Social Security Trust Fund was buying U.S. Treasury bonds. So right now, the Social Security Trust Fund is now selling U.S. Treasury bonds, and again, those anticipated to be depleted by 2035. What's going to happen in 2036 to you? Anything? Probably nothing. Okay? The way that they fix Social Security is by changing benefits for younger people. You know this already. And the way that you know this is that all of your parents had a full retirement age of 65. The oldest of you have a full retirement age of 66. Many of you have a full retirement age of 66 and some number of months, and the youngest of you have a full retirement age of 67. That process of moving from 65, grading all the way up to 67, was a grandfathering in to people who were getting closer, but then ultimately for the younger participants, they have an older retirement age. They're going to do something like that again. Your children and grandchildren are not going to have access to benefits in the same way that you do. Probably they'll eliminate the minimum filing age of 62 or move it up to 65. They'll probably increase full retirement age even further, maybe as high as age 70. There are discussions of increasing the payroll tax, but surprise, surprise, that one's not too popular. Okay, just for ease of explanation, we're going to assume for a minute that everyone has a full retirement age of 66. I know that I said that I know that many of you do have that full retirement age of 66 and some number of months. Some of you are at 67, but just to make it easy to explain, we're going to assume for a minute that everyone has a full retirement age of 66. Okay, if you were to look at your Social Security statement, there is an important number in the very upper right-hand corner of your statement. That number is your estimated primary insurance amount, PIA. If that number says $2,000 and you file at your full retirement age, you should be receiving 100% of that primary insurance amount, or $2,000. You're allowed to file early. You can file as early as the age of 62. If you do, you will be receiving 75% of your primary insurance amount. So $2,000 has been turned into $1,500. You're also able to delay. So if you want to delay taking benefits past your full retirement age, you can do that and be rewarded with what are known as delayed retirement credits. 8% per year is what you're eligible for. And you could turn your $2,000 benefit by age 70 into $2,640. Now, if you delay past 70, you're allowed, but there's nothing in it for you because they will not give you anything more. Okay, you've capped out, you've matched your benefit at age 70. There are actually three distinct benefits that you can file for. You can file for a retired worker's benefit. That's the benefit that you're entitled to based upon your own work history. You also can file for a spousal benefit. These are benefits that you're entitled to based upon a spouse's work history or an ex-spouse's work history. Widow or survivor benefits would be benefits that you're entitled to based upon a deceased spouse's work history or a deceased ex-spouse's work history. The last time Social Security law was changed was in October of 2015. Basically what that law change did is it took away all the fun stuff. So if you've heard of file and suspend, get a lump sum check, start with your spouse's, switch to your own later, basically all of that stuff is gone, with one exception. There is a rapidly diminishing group who were born before January 2nd of 1954 who have not yet filed a Social Security benefit. If you're in that group and you also have access to a spousal or ex-spousal benefit, you can do what's called a restricted application, file for that benefit first, and switch to your own, again, as late as age 70. But you can't have already filed for anything. All right, if you're not in that group or you've already filed for benefits, there's really just a few things to keep in mind in terms of strategies around filing. The first is if you file for a Social Security benefit and you sort of feel like buyer's remorse maybe, I wish I hadn't done that, then what you can do is you can do what's called a rescinding of your application. That allows you to tell Social Security, stop paying me, and reset my benefit as though I never filed. You can do this one time ever. And you have to do it within the first 365 days from when you filed. Also, any dollars you've received up until the point that you decide to rescind, you have to pay those dollars back if you want them to totally reset your benefit. But they will, okay? If you do all that, they'll let you reset those benefits. The other thing that you want to be mindful of is if you are either past those 365 days or you don't want to pay back the dollars you've received thus far, but you do want to pause Social Security and earn those 8% delayed retirement credits. Can you do it? Yes, you can. So long as you're younger than the age of 70, if you're receiving Social Security, you can tell them to suspend benefits. Suspending benefits will cause them to stop paying you, and then from that point until as late as age 70, you will earn any delayed retirement credits that you would be entitled to. Okay, let's talk about spousal benefits. In order to qualify for a spousal benefit, you need to have been married for at least 1 year. There is a rule with spousal benefits that will tell you that this falls under what's known as deemed filing. Deemed filing means that the person you're filing off of must have filed their benefits if you want to be eligible to file the spousal benefit. Okay, so in order to file the spousal, the person you're filing on must have filed theirs. Generally, you must not qualify for a benefit of your own that is more than 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount. So if my wife has a $2,000 a month benefit, 50% of that, or primary insurance amount, half of that is $1,000. That's what my spousal would be if I file at my full retirement age. But if I have my own benefit that's $1,200, that's more than half of hers, and so I'm not going to focus on hers at all. It's just going to be me filing for my own benefit on my own time schedule. Now, it's 50% of your spouse's primary insurance amount, not the benefit amount that they're receiving. So if John has a primary insurance amount of $2,000, Jane would be eligible for half of that, or $1,000, at her full retirement age. Age of filing absolutely matters. You don't get half of what they're getting. You get half of their primary insurance amount modified by your age. Let me explain. If you file for a spousal benefit early, you are allowed. You can file as early as age 62, but it is going to be a reduced schedule. And the schedule for spousal benefit reductions is actually faster than if it's your own. So if I have my own benefit that's $1,000, I file at 62, I get $750. But if it's not my own, it's a spousal, I don't get $750, I only get $700. I am also ineligible to receive delayed retirement credits on a spousal benefit. So if I have my own benefit of $1,000, I could delay till 70 and get $1,320. However, if it's not my own, it's a spousal, and I delay till 70, I don't get $1,320. I still only get $1,000. So there is no benefit to spouses to delay past a full retirement age if that spousal benefit is going to be the better benefit for you. Okay, married couples, when one of you passes away, only one benefit remains. It's always the higher of the two. Either it'll be your own if yours is the higher, or deceased spouse if theirs is higher. Okay, so if my wife has a $2,000 a month benefit, I have $1,000. I pass away. I take my $1,000 with me. She keeps her $2,000. If she passes away, I say goodbye to my $1,000. I keep her $2,000. Only one benefit remains. It's always the higher of the two. The only caveat to this is the 82.5% rule. If your spouse who had the higher benefit filed early, say at 62, they're getting 75% of their primary insurance amount. You would not be reduced all the way down to 75%. You would get a little bump up to 82.5%. The 82.5% rule does turn, say, $2,000 reduced to 75%, $1,500. Okay, 82.5% rule would say that I wouldn't get $1,500, I get a little bump up, $1,650. Two most common mistakes we see married couples make. Number one, this is the biggest one. The higher wage earner files early. Why would that be a mistake? Remember, when you're thinking about Social Security and you're framing these benefits in, what do they mean for you? What are the things that are going to be most important to you about these benefits? Well, one of the key important factors is that these benefits will pay to you no matter how long you live. If you're married, not just you, but also you and your spouse. Higher wage earner, you are the one that has the survivor benefit, either for yourself or your surviving spouse. So generally speaking, if anyone's going to do any kind of delaying, it's going to be that higher wage earner, because if you don't and you pass early, you could be shortchanging that survivor's benefit. Now, if both of you live into your 90s, maybe it's not a big deal. But what if one of you lives to your 70s and the other of you lives to 90s? Now we're talking about 20 years with one Social Security check, and we'd really like that Social Security check to be as high as it can reasonably be. Second mistake that we will see, both of you delay past full retirement age. This just comes from our experience in helping so many folks make these kinds of decisions. It almost never works out that it's in your best interest for both of you to delay past full retirement age. Generally speaking, one of you is going to be best off filing early to some degree or another, and one of you is going to be better off delaying to some degree or another. Let's talk about divorced spouse benefits, the fun one. In order to qualify for a divorced spouse benefit, you need to have been married for at least 10 years in a row to the same person. Now, married 7 years, divorced, remarried, even to the same person. If you got divorced and you remarried the next day, that's a quick makeup. But you shouldn't have got divorced and you say you stay married for another 5 years and then divorce again. 7 plus 5 does not equal 12. One of those two stints has to be at least 10 years in order for those spousal benefits to be available. Ex-spousal benefits. So I know you didn't come on here for marriage counseling, but if you need a reason to hang on, there you go. Same benefit amounts in terms of extra penalties for filing early, and no increases for delaying apply to the ex-spousal benefits, as did also those spousal benefits. The one major difference between ex-spousal benefits and spousal benefits is that you are independently entitled to file your ex-spousal benefits so long as you have been divorced for at least 2 years. What this means is that in the scenario I said earlier, where the spouse that you're filing on deemed filing, you have to wait for them to file for you to file. That is not true for those of you who are divorced. So long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years, deemed filing no longer applies. Okay, well, that part of deemed filing, excuse me. There's other parts of deemed filing that do apply, but not that part. If you were born before January 2nd of 1954 and you have not yet filed for a Social Security benefit, and you have access to an ex-spousal benefit from a marriage that lasted more than 10 years, the restricted application could be particularly advantageous to you. One goofy thing about divorced spouse benefits, if you manage to fit a 10-year marriage into your lifetime where the person was younger than you, and you hit 62 and then you file for your Social Security, that younger ex-spouse hits 62 and their spousal amount is higher than your own, you can switch. And If you manage to fit another 10-year marriage like that, and that younger person hits 62 again, you can switch again. As many 10-year marriages like that you can pull off. Okay, common questions we hear from those who are divorced. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. Is that going to affect me in some way? No, it is not. I'm divorced. My ex is going to file off of me. I've remarried, and my new spouse is going to file off of me. Will their benefits affect each other? No, they will not. I'm divorced, and I've managed to fit a few 10-year marriages in my lifetime. They're all going to file off of me. My new spouse is going to file off of me, and I'm going to die young. No, just kidding. Okay. All right. Yes, it's allowed. They can all file off of you. And yeah, in fact, if you do happen to predecease all of them, then yes, they can all get those widow benefits. Okay, I'm divorced. I'm going to be filing off of my ex. Are they going to know that I've done that somehow? No, they will not. The only way for them to know if you've done that is if you tell them, okay? Doesn't affect them. They're not notified. None of that stuff. Let's talk about widow benefits. Widows are a special group. They are the only group that can file as early as the age of 60. In order to file at the age of 60, assuming you were widowed prior to reaching 60, you must remain unmarried until you do reach that age of 60. Now, the very first workshop I ever did, gal in the back raised her hand and said, so if I understand this right, it sounds like I need to delay the wedding. Well, the audience thought that was funny, and so did I. But in fact, it was kind of a big deal to her, okay? And the reason why it was such a big deal is because if she remarried, this was a June workshop, the wedding was supposed to be in September, she would still have been 59. Her birthday was not until March of the following year. Let me explain what would have happened. If she remarries, she cannot file for anything when she turns 60 next year. Because now she's married, it's either her own benefit or the new spousal. That's an age 62 filing. So she's got to be careful with that. Also, by getting married too, quote unquote, too soon, she can't file at all at 60, and she's got to wait 2 years, and the amounts are as so. Just under $2,000 a month was what she was going to be looking forward to in filing that widow benefit at 60. Just under $1,500 a month was the amount for the new spousal benefit that she would have been entitled to. Now, both are pretty nice benefits, to be honest with you. They're quite good, but that's not a great deal. I got to wait 2 years to get $500 a month less. So, yeah, unfortunately, we did recommend she delay the wedding. Now, I think this is funny because I'm a religious person. You can decide how you feel about that. Feel about this, but her feel about me being a religious person. You can decide how you feel about that too, I guess. But what I meant to say was you can decide how you feel about what I'm going to tell you, and that is that she did go to her priest, and she asked, so can we just do the religious part of the ceremony and sign stuff later? And he said, no. I said, there's another priest who will do this for you. But she's very devout. The wedding was delayed. All right. You need to have been married a minimum of 9 months prior to the death of your spouse in order for those widow benefits to be retained. Here's the deal with this. This is not here to hurt people. What this is here for is to prevent deathbed marriages. Okay? That's all this is here for. If you can show that your spouse passed away not from some terminal illness or some known cause, something unexpected, you can get those widow benefits reopened. Only real life example I've run into with this, gal was married later in life, husband was in the armed forces, he was shipped overseas, killed in action, they'd been married less than 6 months. She assumed no widow benefits. However, it wasn't as though we had some kind of terminal illness. We just had to submit proper documentation and the benefits were reopened. Another case study on widow benefits. Widows do have the most flexibility in terms of how they file for benefits. This example will highlight that. John never elected for benefits. We never met John. He passed away at 64. We met Jane. She attended one of our workshops at 60. She was 59 when John died, but she didn't get remarried, so she's 60 now, and she's trying to figure out, what should I do about these widow benefits that I'm entitled to? Jane does have her own work history, and so she has a benefit of $1,197 at 62, should she choose to file that way. Now, there's some options that Jane has. One of the things that we would very commonly see Jane do is that she might just file for those widow benefits. John passed away, she needs the income, and so she files for the widow benefits. $1,537 is what she'd be entitled to. She's able to file at 60. It is a reduced amount, and again, in her case, $1,537. If she files at 60, not assuming any cost of living, and she receives that through her age 85 and she passes away, over her lifetime, $461,000 is what she has received. If she's still working, what should she do? Because she has to deal with the earnings test, which we'll talk about in a minute, so she can't really file. She might be 60, she's eligible, but because she has employment income, she can't really file for those benefits yet. We'll talk more about that in a minute. But what should she do in that case? Well, let's say she's going to work 2 more years and retire at 62. The real Jane was like strategy 1 here. She doesn't want to make big changes. She's going to work 2 more years. She starts with her own benefit at $1,197 a month. She receives that from the age of 62 through the age of 66. And then what can she do? At 67, she's allowed to switch to widow benefits. That would maximize the widow benefit. And now she receives $2,150 from John's widow benefit. Over her lifetime, for filing like that, rather than just filing the widow benefit and going from there, it's more than $77,000 over her lifetime, again, not assuming any cost of living, that she could get from those benefits. Now, another option Jane would have that is a very big deal to her is, let's say she was ready to retire, she did need the income. Well, she can file for those widow benefits, $1,537 a month, but what Jane needs to not forget about is that her own benefit, increasing to full retirement age, earning those 8% delayed retirement credits, increasing to age 70, will grow her benefit all the way up to $2,108. She receives that again. She passes at age 85, but that's more than $100,000 over her lifetime simply for understanding her options and taking advantage of what's available to her. Now, as you can imagine, Social Security is not going to call Jane up one day and say, Jane, by the way, hello, this is Social Security. We'd like you to know that you're missing out on some money. Yeah, that phone call is not going to come. So she does have to know to do it, okay? Now, I'm often struck by these numbers, $400,000, $500,000. This is a single person, not even with any cost of living factored in. It is not uncommon for us to see single folks over $1 million, married couples definitely over $1 million, sometimes over $2 million in lifetime benefits from Social Security. Maybe I'm preaching to the choir because you're here, but look, it's very important to do planning, okay? This may be some of the single biggest financial decisions that many of you are going to make in how you file for these benefits. So it's just worth taking seriously. Again, I'm probably preaching to the choir because you're here, but do take it seriously. Really consider your options and try to maximize what you get out of this system. Okay. Let's talk about the earnings test. So I alluded to this a minute ago. Jane, if she's going to keep working, shouldn't file for benefits right away. So what should Jane do in that scenario? Well, she's going to delay taking benefits. Why? Because she was earning more than $18,960. If you have not yet reached your full retirement age and you want to file for a Social Security benefit, and that benefit not the benefit, and your earned income is more than $18,960, you have to deal with this earnings test. Here's how it works. The first $18,960 of your income, Social Security doesn't care about that, right? They say, fine, receive the benefits. What do we care? But once you go above that amount, Social Security starts caring. They care about $1 for every $2 that you earn above the limit. So let's say for a minute that you have an earned income, so W-2 or 1099 income of $58,960. Odd number, but the math will be easy and you'll see that. So what we do is we take off the first $18,960. It leaves us with $40,000 above the limit. It's a 1 for 2 that they care about, so we chop it in half. You are ineligible to receive $20,000 from Social Security. Let's say that the benefit that you're filing for is a $2,000 a month benefit. $2,000 goes into $20,000 10 times, meaning you will not receive a benefit in January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October. Then you will receive a $2,000 check in November and a $2,000 check in December. Some people mistakenly assume that going over these limits means that they'll reduce your benefit, but you'll still get a benefit all year. No. The way it works is they simply don't pay you anything until you have paid back what you were ineligible to receive. Now, in the year that you turn your full retirement age, but before you turn your full retirement age, they increase it to $50,520 on the earnings test, and it's a 1 for 3, and this almost never applies to anyone. Once you reach your full retirement age, you can have earned income of any amount, you can receive Social Security, and it's no problem. You just have to deal with our favorite topic, taxes. Taxes on Social Security, unfortunately, is a complicated issue. I wish it wasn't, but then maybe people wouldn't hire me as frequently. I don't know. Social Security and dealing with those taxes on Social Security benefits is a big deal. It's such a big deal that it requires the IRS to produce this wonderful publication 915, every year that will detail out everything that you could possibly ever want to know about how you pay taxes on your Social Security benefits. It's a 33-page document. Why does it take 33 pages? Call your congressman, okay, or congress lady. All right, there are some helpful things in this worksheet. They were helpful to me. Maybe a little tongue-in-cheek otherwise. But this is a worksheet that details out for you the 19-step process that you must go through to figure out how much tax you are going to owe on your Social Security benefits. Don't worry. What we are not going to do is cover all 19 steps. Okay? What we are going to do is we are going to highlight what are some of the key important things that we think you should have in mind when you're making this Social Security filing decision. Now, line 1 on this worksheet is the most important number. It is your provisional income number. Your provisional income number consists of 3 things. Number 1, all of your earned income, all sources. Okay, so, not earned income, all sources of income, period. So that would include earned income. It would include any 1099s, K-1s, rental income, interest income, dividend income, annuity income, pension income, everything. Plus, non-taxable interest. So for those of you who buy municipal bonds, why do you do it? Lower taxes. What does it not help with? Provisional income and taxes on Social Security. So they found a back end way to get it. Okay, third one. This one's a little bit of maybe a little knife twist in the side, but they actually count 50% of the Social Security benefits you're receiving into this provisional income number that determines how much tax you're going to owe. I've done this live enough to hear people shout out things like, hey, that's double dipping, and if you feel that way, I understand. But that is how it works. If the combination of those 3 items and you're single, is above $25,000, you start paying taxes on Social Security. If it goes above $34,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. Married couples, $32,000 is your number. Above that, you start paying taxes on Social Security. At $44,000, you could be paying tax on up to 85% of your benefits. The question is, how much tax? Well, this is where it gets a little complicated. So let's do a little illustration to sort of highlight how this will work. Let's say you're cruising along through retirement, everything's going well. You are enjoying receiving some Social Security benefits, maybe some pension dollars or income out of your 401k plan, and you're doing well, right? You're enjoying life, you're enjoying your retirement, you're enjoying the grandkids and your family, you're doing the stuff that you were hoping to do in retirement. Everything's going fine. But the last year's been a little tough, and you'd like to get out there and do some bucket list items, check some things off. You'd planned to do some traveling. You were hoping for that, and it hasn't quite worked out how you were hoping yet, but it's time to go. So you're going to book a trip, right? You're going to go on a vacation. And so you talk to your loved one or your friends, and they say, wonderful idea, we like it. And so what do? You go and you start looking. Where are we going to go? What are we going to do? You don't want to go too crazy. It's still a little topsy-turvy yet. We're just not clear out of the woods just yet. You don't feel, or at least that's what you're told. So you say, well, let's keep it a little bit more basic. Let's do something maybe here, stay local or whatever. It doesn't matter. But the point is, you book it, you figure it out, you create a budget. What's your budget? Okay, you come out to $10,000, let's say. Okay, you're going to have a good time. You want to enjoy things. You're going to enjoy this trip and have a great time, but it's going to cost you 10 grand. So, no problem. You've got some savings, but you do have to pay for it, and it's not like you just have 10 grand sitting around necessarily. So you want to pull it from some source. So you survey all your accounts, right? You look at all the various accounts that you have, and you see, hey, my 401k is doing well. I got my 401k. What did I save all that money for? I saved it for me. So, yeah, I'll pull it from there. That makes good sense. So you call up your 401k plan and you say, hello, I'd like to pull $10,000, please. And they say, no problem. And then they ask you a very important question. Question they ask you is, how much tax would you like to have withheld from this distribution? Oh, yeah, right, taxes. No problem. Sure. Yeah. Not a problem. So you maybe you look at a tax return and you figure it out and you say, okay, I'm in the 12% tax bracket, so I'll withhold 12%. 401k plan says, no problem. They send you your dollars. You get your money. You go on your trip. Everything's great. And then March of next year, you are punching everything into TurboTax or TaxSlayer or H&R Block or whatever you use. I got in trouble for always picking on TurboTax. Someone was saying, hey, there's other stuff. But in any case, so you're punching all the info in and something's wrong. Your tax software says you owe money. Or maybe your tax person says you owe money. I don't get it. I never owe money. I always withhold enough. What do you mean I owe? Something's wrong. Well, here's what happened. Unfortunately, nothing is wrong except for the fact that you didn't do enough tax withholding. You see, when you go above these limits, which you did by taking that $10,000 out, you add additional taxes to your Social Security benefits. It's not that you get more money from Social Security, you just cause additional Social Security dollars to become taxable. So, you pulled $10,000 out here, taxed at 12%. That was right. But what you didn't account for was an additional $10,000 over here that you caused to become taxable. 12 plus 12 is 24%. Well, that's no fun. Didn't like that. But, live and learn. Unfortunately, that's not the bad one. The bad one goes like this. Maybe you're the type of person who's done a lot of smart things in your life to try and build up to this retirement time frame. You're trying to, get things together. I don't know what just happened. Okay, we're going to keep going. Trying to get things together. You want to make sure that everything's going to go well for you in retirement. And so you put the money in the accounts. You build up the accounts. They grow. They continue to grow. They're doing really well. You're not putting too much pressure on those accounts because you want to make sure that you have enough money to take care of yourself no matter how long you live. Okay, you've seen some people who have to deal with Medicaid for long-term care purposes. You don't want to be like that. You've seen people that have really kind of put some pressure on their family to help them in their old age. You don't want to be like that. And so you've done all these wonderful things to get your spending down and be very reasonable. And so your accounts, gosh, they really grew. You got your 401k matches. You built up this nice, wonderful account, and it has continued to grow. And then you wake up one day, and it is your 72nd birthday. If you don't already know, at the age of 72, you have to deal with what is known as a required minimum distribution. A required minimum distribution applies in any scenario where you have 401k, IRA, 403b, 457, TIAA, TSP, Simple IRA, SEP IRA, any of these tax qualified accounts. When you have these types of accounts and you hit your required minimum distribution age, based on the amount that is in those accounts, you must take a distribution. The larger the account, the larger the distribution. If that distribution is so large, in fact, that it pushes you up above these limits, and not only is it pushing you up above these limits, but it is such a large distribution that it's also adding a lot of extra tax to Social Security, and then whoops, not in the 12% tax bracket anymore. It's not 12 and 12 is 24, it's 22 and 22 is 44. These are the kinds of tax mistakes that we really urge you to do what you can to make sure that you avoid and dodge them. Let's look at a case study that highlights how taxes and the Social Security decision that you make can be so important and meaningful into your retirement plan and those decisions. Clients are 64 and 62. Between the two of them, they have about $34,000 in combined Social Security benefits if they file, right away or pretty early. They have $752,000 in retirement savings between their 401k and IRA accounts. They will earn 6% on those accounts. They need to get $70,000 worth of income, and they'll need to increase that at 3% for inflation. They're going to live to 86 and 89 respectively. Now, there's three groups of you that are hearing this example. One group of you is saying, yeah, tweak this number, that number, adjust this here and there, but pretty close, right? This looks kind of like me. So obviously for you, this will be very helpful and meaningful, so sit tight. You'll get a lot out of this. There's another group of you that's looking at this and you're saying, 752,000? Wow, what happened? Didn't they have any kids? Okay, so look, if you're looking at that number and you're going, wow, I wish I had that, then look, I need you to pay attention because this couple with $752,000 has a running out of money problem, and we're going to look at how a change in their Social Security strategy is going to help them fix it. So sit tight. Now, there's another group of you that is looking at this and you're saying, yeah, I knew you were going to say that, Kyle. Yeah, of course they're going to run out of money. They didn't save enough. They got to keep working. They need to get more dollars put away. It's not going to happen. I knew you were going to say they're going to run out of money, Kyle. It's very apparent to me. Well, look, if that's you, if you're looking at this and saying that's not enough, then I need you to pay attention because this couple with only $752,000 has a tax problem. And there again, we're going to show you how a change in their Social Security filing decision can help them fix it. If this couple in the early years of retirement will file Social Security early, you'll notice that it's covering about half of their income need. That's the blue lines. The orange lines are the dollars that they're pulling from their 401k and IRA assets to make up the difference. The red line is the line they need to hit for their income increasing with inflation. The amount of dollars coming out above the red line, the orange line's above the red line, is the amount that they are needing to pay in taxes. What you are noticing correctly is a few things. Number one, as they increase with inflation, Social Security doesn't keep up. That's correct. Social Security lags behind real inflation historically by approximately 1%. Because of that, they need to pull out more and more from their investment accounts. As they do that, they're not increasing the orange lines above the red line linearly, they're increasing them exponentially. Unfortunately, that puts so much pressure on their portfolio that they run out of money 14 years too soon. I'm going to show you another slide in just a second here, but I want to be very clear. This couple and many other folks would benefit greatly from having additional advanced tax planning working for them, on their behalf. However, we're not implementing any advanced tax planning for this couple. The only change between this slide and the next slide is a change in the Social Security filing strategy. We want you to see how important this Social Security decision really is. If this couple will fund the early years of their retirement entirely from their 401k, we don't delay retirement, we just delay Social Security. You'll notice that they do pay a little bit extra taxes in those early years, but look, once they file Social Security, it's covering such a higher percentage of their total retirement income need that it drops that pressure on their portfolio down to a very small amount. And the amount of the orange line above the red line, I don't know if you can see it there, there's a little bit there, but not much. It is not uncommon when we do pre-planning for folks to get them into a position where they're paying very little and sometimes even no taxes once they trigger those Social Security benefits. Also, because they take all that pressure off their portfolio, it lasts the rest of their lifetime. If we compare the taxes side by side, what you'll see here is that the blue lines above the yellow lines over here are the extra taxes that they do pay when they optimize Social Security. They do pay a little bit more in taxes in those early years. But look at all the excess taxes that are being paid, the orange lines above the blue lines, simply for filing Social Security early. Now eventually, orange lines go away, they stop paying taxes, but they're broke, so it's not a good deal. Now, 3 main points of value for them to optimize their Social Security filing strategy. Number 1, they actually get more money out of Social Security, $186,000 more. Their portfolio lasts 14 more years, and even though they weren't paying any taxes for 14 years when they file early, they still end up paying less in taxes by using an optimized strategy. So that's a pretty big win across the board. Social Security makes a big difference in terms of your long-term retirement planning needs and goals. Okay, a few things about your Social Security statement. Number 1, no cost of living adjustments are factored in or estimated. It's a snapshot in time, and it assumes the dollars in today's dollars. It also assumes that you work all the way until 62, retire, file immediately. Or all the way until full retirement age, retire, file immediately. Or all the way until 70, retire, file immediately. What isn't on your statement is, what if you retire, say, at 65, but then don't file for benefits until 70? Unfortunately, that's not on your statement, okay? So just be aware of that. It's your work history only, no spousal coordination, no widow benefits or anything like that, and then certainly and obviously no advice. So look, after hearing our presentation today, you may or may not feel that you could use a more individualized, specific look at your benefits. If you do feel that way, we are going to make available to you, in addition to the free Social Security workbook, an opportunity for you to request from us a complimentary, no-cost Social Security analysis. Now, that this is not a generalized analysis. This is a specified analysis specific to your situation, specific to your needs. So how do we have time and the ability to offer something like this for free? Well, think about it like this. When you go to Costco on the weekends and you are wondering why you are there, Costco on the weekends. The only redeeming thing about Costco on the weekends, of course, is that you get to enjoy the samples, right? That's the only thing that redeems itself. And why does Costco give out samples? Why does any grocery store give out samples? Because they love giving stuff away. No, they do it because their hope is that you try it and you say, hey, that's pretty good. And then you make a purchase. Anybody ever done that? I know I have. And so, look, we feel that way about this Social Security analysis. It is our belief that if you get this analysis from us and you see it and you say, wow, this is really a great benefit, I really see how you guys can really make a big difference for your clients. It is our anticipation that if you see the benefit of this analysis, that we may earn that right, or maybe privilege, maybe I should say the honor of serving you with other retirement planning needs that you may have, whether that's additional income planning needs or investment planning needs that you may have. We may earn the ability to earn your business and work with you for those other needs. So if you choose to get this from us, we are very gratified by that. We're excited for you. There's no obligation for you to work with us for those other needs that you may have. But just know that we would anticipate that you might see that we can provide a great service and maybe we can earn the privilege of serving you in other ways. If you think this analysis could be helpful to you, let me discuss a little bit about what's inside of it. So first of all, there are specific strategies right to your benefits, okay? So this is not a generalized analysis. It will tell you, okay, here's when you should file, here's when you should switch to this benefit or do this, file this way and get that benefit. Okay, there's going to be specific strategies detailing out for you step by step the way that you should file. In addition to that, we will compare strategies. If you file this way, what does it look like versus if you file that way? We can look at lots of different combinations. We can evaluate if there's a break even. Does one strategy stand out over the other, or is one just very obvious? We need to definitely file this way versus that way. We'll look at all of that for your Social Security benefits. Now, the thing that really sets our analysis apart, if you've ever happened to have an analysis run, I think the thing that really puts our analysis above a lot of others and will cause you to say, wow, I'm so glad I did this. So glad I got this analysis. This is really helpful to me. The thing that's really going to put that apart is our retirement income cash flow and tax analysis. This part of the analysis is the big differentiator because it will help us look at those tax issues with your Social Security benefits that we discussed just a moment ago. And so when we do our analysis for people, this is a screen capture of our proprietary software tool that we use with clients. The reason why we spent all the time and money, frankly, to develop this software tool is because, unfortunately, there aren't other good tools out there that we could just subscribe to. When we provide tax planning and estimates for our clients, we do not provide a generalized, $40,000, that looks good. Okay, no, we give very specific recommendations. We were talking to a client earlier today. The very specific recommendation was $52,367.20 for their Roth conversion strategy. On this example here, $42,350. Okay, so the Roth conversions for this couple help them to avoid being taxed on the full 85% for the rest of their life. What a great deal. How's it going to work for you? That's why we do the analysis, so we can see what planning opportunities are available for you. Also, we'll compare side by side. Sometimes when you're doing tax planning, You go out of your way to do a lot of things early to try to avoid a later problem, but it doesn't benefit you. Well, you certainly would want to know that. In this couple's case, it makes a big difference. Doing these Roth conversions means an extra $700,000 of tax-free dollars and another $100,000 of just total assets. So we'll show you side by side. What are your numbers going to look like? We'll have to see, okay? That's how this analysis process works. Okay, if you feel that an analysis like that could be helpful to you, you are going to go to the exact same website that you go to request your Social Security filing workbook. The website you go to is sendworkbook.com. At sendworkbook.com, you can request your free Social Security workbook and your free Social Security analysis. If you're just requesting the workbook, that's totally fine. Same website, sendworkbook.com. Okay, what you'll do is you'll fill out the form. There will be an option for you to say, yes, I'd like to request my complimentary Social Security analysis. You simply select that, and it'll take you through the process to get the information filled out to make that happen for you. We do request your address. The reason for this is a physical copy of the workbook. We're going to mail it to you. So we request your address. We're going to mail you a physical copy of the workbook. Also, if you request the analysis, there will be some additional questions that will help us make sure that we're getting the best and most apt person for you to work with to get your analysis together. Okay, a few points of disclosure about the analysis process. Number one, we are able to work with anyone in any part of the country to get this analysis together. We're a registered investment advisory firm. We're capable of providing this analysis to anyone in our country, regardless of your location. We have had people ask, can you work with me if I reside overseas? Yes, we can still help you. If you are qualifying for Social Security benefits, we can still help you, okay? Now, having said that, how do we do that? Okay, the majority of our team is in Michigan. We do have some team members in Colorado, some in New Jersey. I'm sure many of you are not in those locations. So how do we do this? We provide this analysis to you over a secured and encrypted video conference platform. We will be on video. You will interact with us face to face, unless you don't want to have your face on video, which is fine. It's totally up to you how you want to do that. But our team member will be on camera. You'll get to see and interact with them in that way. Anyone that you interact with in this analysis process to get this analysis together for you, few promises we make. Number one, every single member of our team is a fully licensed, certified as a National Social Security advisor, the only accredited designation on Social Security, and also they will be a fiduciary. As a fiduciary firm, when we are working with you to get this analysis, we have to treat you exactly the same as we treat our clients in terms of your privacy and holding your best interests in mind. Okay, even though it's a free analysis, we have to treat you exactly the same way as we do a client, putting your best interests first, number one. Number two, all of the privacy regulations apply for you as well. Okay, so can't sell your information or anything crazy like that. We do sometimes get questions. I want to make sure I address that ahead of time for you. Okay, all right. Last thing, City Center Financial is my firm. We now own and operate the Einstein Retirement brand. At one time, we were two separate entities. Okay, we did so much work with Einstein, we acquired that brand. Einstein Retirement Workshops is the educational brand that we do these workshops in, and the podcasts and some of these other things. But our firm, the actual firm providing this analysis to you and working with you for your retirement planning needs, is City Center Financial. Okay, every team member that you would work with has been fully trained by me, and again, they're going to be fully licensed, certified, and fiduciary. Okay. I think I've covered all of the things I was supposed to cover there. I'm going to start going to a Q&A. While I'm doing the Q&A, you are very welcome to go to sendworkbook.com at any time. okay? You can go right into your browser, open it up, leave your window open that you're listening to the Q&A on. You can fill out this form at any time, even while the Q&A is going. If you would like, you can also type in your questions and all that, and let's get that going as well. I'll highlight your questions. I'll start answering them here in just a second. But you know, make sure you get your workbook. I want to make sure we mail that out to you, so do that. Okay, let me get questions loaded here. I'm going to try and do it this way, the new way, slightly new way. Let's see. Okay. All right. Okay, so Kathy Allers says, if there was no cap on the amount of income that was taxed for Social Security, there would be no problem in funding it. That is probably correct, except the only issue with that, Kathy, is the way the benefits are calculated are based on what your taxable portion is. So they would have to make a big modification. Otherwise, what you're saying isn't exactly true, okay? It's close, but they would have to basically have a large portion taxed that doesn't participate in the benefit amount for that to work out, okay? So you're close, but little caveat to it. Okay, let's see here. Terry says, besides Social Security, who can I talk about the alternative minimum tax I got since I don't think it was calculated correctly? Well, you know, we can certainly look at something like that with you, Terry, but I'd encourage you to talk to also a tax professional. The AMT is fairly rare in its application to people on the current tax code, although it can affect some. But it's pretty uncommon these days. Okay, Felicita says, will my benefits be affected if I file for a spousal? Well, Felicita, if you have to file a spousal without affecting your own benefits, you need to have been born before January 2nd of 1954. So if that's not the case, then the answer is you can't do it. You have to file for your own or the spousal, whichever is higher. That's called deemed filing. Is this covered in the book? Should be. Yeah, I update it once a year, and it's been a while since I've updated it, but I think you can get the gist of that in there. Okay, Barbara says, so a woman who is divorced and not remarried can receive her benefits and also her ex's benefits if he has not filed for benefits yet. What if he is remarried? Yeah, it doesn't matter, Barbara, if he's remarried. That's correct. So but it's one or the other, right? It's not, it's either yours or your ex's, whichever is higher. Okay, the only caveat being if they're younger than you, then you have to wait till at least they hit 62. Okay. I mean, what if he is not retired yet? Doesn't matter. So long as you've been divorced for at least 2 years, Barbara, doesn't matter. Okay, Phil says, I signed in late. I'm applying for Social Security when I turn 65 in January. How do I make sure that I get the most money? Well, you could get the analysis, Phil, if you want to double check your thinking. That would certainly be a way to do it. Okay, Susan is asking, is everything you're saying in the book? Well, the book is not a book. It is a Social Security filing workbook. So the answer is no, it's a workbook. So no, it's not. How are divorce benefits calculated? Divorce benefits are calculated the same way as spousal benefits. Okay, so it's 50% of your spouse's PIA or ex-spouse's PIA, then modified by the age that you file. Okay, Danette says, can I collect on my own Social Security early at 62 and then change to my spousal when my husband collects at 67? Yes, Danette, yes, you can. So again, that's part of the deemed filing rule. So you could file on yours at 62, and then whenever your husband files at a later date, if that gives you a boost, a spousal boost, you will receive it. technically you shouldn't have to switch. It should just happen automatically. Okay, Natalie says, are pension benefits calculated in provisional benefits? Yes, they are. Yeah, but it's not provisional benefits, provisional income. That's the number that's used by the IRS to calculate how much tax you're going to owe on Social Security. Charlene says, good info. Okay, thanks, Charlene. Appreciate that. Okay. Patricia was sorry that she had to leave early. I'm sorry that you did too, Patricia. What is a hybrid protection account and what company provide that? Louis or Louise, which based on your name, I guess Louise. Louise, a hybrid protection account sounds like a pretend name that an insurance salesman didn't want to tell you he was talking about an annuity. Okay, that's just my guess. I don't know for sure. Okay, Maureen Moras says, what if your 401 was rolled over into an annuity? Okay, so it's the same rules. That means it's an IRA. So if you rolled your 401k into an annuity, it's just an IRA annuity. You have the same rules as far as taxes and RMDs. Okay, all the same rules. Okay, Anna is also curious what a hybrid protection account is. A hybrid protection account, again, sounds like another name for an annuity that the salesperson doesn't want to tell you that he wants to sell you an annuity. Okay, what if you save your money in your mattress? Just kidding. Buy insurance. Okay, great class. Thank you, Bobby. How do I get the workbook? I joined late. Okay, yep. And someone responded. Okay, good. All right, more questions. Let's see. Not during COVID, no samples. Yeah, Diane, they did no samples for a long time, and then I don't know, they probably are going to stop again. But I think it was 2 weeks ago when I went to Costco, they had samples, so I was kind of surprised. Barbara's asking, can we ask for the complimentary analysis later? I mean, there's always the chance that we stop offering it, but at least for now, I think that's probably fine. Okay, Sandy says, I turned 70 this October, and I do not claim enemies. I don't know what that means, but it sounds funny, or maybe spell check, or autocorrect. My husband claims Social Security. My husband claims Social Security told me I can claim on my husband and receive back payments for 6 months and then claim on mine when I turn 70. Okay, Sandy, in order for that to be true, you need to have been born before January 2nd of 1954. As long as you're born before January 2nd of 1954, you should be fine to do that. I can't read the rest of your comment. Let's see if I can... It put a ... You also said money had to be paid back. So no, if the scenario that you're talking about works out, then you're okay. Okay, Christopher, what's your fee structure? Okay, so our fee structure works one of two ways. Depends on how you decide to hire us. If you hire us for planning services, then you pay an hourly rate. Our hourly rate varies by advisor. It depends on the level of expertise and experience that they have, but they'll disclose that to you up front before you would make any I'm ready to hire you decisions. If we're talking about investment management, then we charge advisory fees. Our advisory fees are less than half the national average last time I checked. And on average, our clients pay in the neighborhood of around 0.78. A lot of our clients pay 0.95 as a flat rate. It just kind of depends on a few different variables. But there again, Christopher, if it comes to that point where it looks like, hey, you might want to hire us to do additional planning work for you, we will disclose all fees and costs ahead of time so that you have a really good idea of what that would look like before you would decide to hire us. Okay, I hope that answered your question. Okay, Natalie says, I filed for Social Security next month at 65. I plan to work a couple of days a month. I thought I would have to stay below the $1,580 a month. Yeah, that's right. Yep, you got it, Natalie. The earnings test. Okay, Bobby says, I'm drawing off my deceased husband's Social Security. If I do the workbook based on my work history, will it work when I pull it up on the Social Security website? I can't see it. It said I'm already drawing. Oh, yeah, Bobby. Okay, so Bobby's issue is this. She's already getting widow benefits, so when she goes on Social Security, they don't show her anything about her own benefits. So, Bobby, what we would need to do is we can either call with you or you can call Social Security directly and request them to send you a statement on your benefits, okay? But, yeah, that's one of the problems with widow benefits is they stop telling you about your own. Okay. Kathy, you're fun. Without becoming a soothsayer, what do you think the Social Security system was set up so that ex-spousal benefits do not continue to accrue up until age 70? That seems punitive. Well, the reason is that ex-spousal benefits are the same thing as spousal benefits. It's just that the only difference is that you can file independently. But without, why do I think it was like that? Maybe simplicity. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't put anything as like expecting some conspiracy or something like that. Okay. Liz says, I am divorced, and if I file for spousal benefits and his are less than mine, and his are less and mine are more, I would receive mine, correct? Yeah, that's right. Correct, Liz. Okay, Charles says, I've been doing some Roth conversions for about 4 years, 26,000 last year, not keeping up with the gains. I'm turning 59 and a half soon. I'm in the 20% tax bracket, probably 22, I assume. I would like to get more aggressive with the conversions to the 22 or 24. Bracket, and have it in a Roth before I start drawing. Okay, yeah. So Charles, very common to do that kind of planning. You know, the things you want to be mindful of obviously are going to be the net investment income tax, because once you get up in those ranges, you have to deal with that. And then you have basically 3 years till you have to worry about the IRMA. Okay, that's the income-related monthly adjustment amount. So you got to be mindful of those things. If you're getting the analysis from us, Charles, you'll find that to be very helpful because we'll talk about all of that with you more specifically. Okay. Philip says, a married couple and earnings test. Is it done individually or do they look at our joint income? Individually, Philip. So if you have earned income and you file early, that's a problem. If you have earned income, your wife does not, she files early, that's not a problem. Okay? Brian Crowder says, can a spouse with federal retirement draw on my Social Security? Depends on what kind of federal retirement. So possibly not, but if it's not a non-covered pension, then yes, they can. Felicita says, can my ex file for divorce benefits from me if my benefits are higher? Yes, but it's 50% of yours have to be higher. Okay, Colleen says, if spouse passed away before 50 and I'm going to be 60, can I collect his and work, or am I limited on income? So Colleen, yes, you have to deal with the earnings test. Doesn't mean you might not still file. So that's where you have to run the calculations to see what's in your best interest. You may still want to file those widow benefits. In fact, I would say probably even if you only get a couple of checks a year. But if you're getting the analysis, we can tell you for sure. Okay, Mary Rose, the way you get your workbook is the same website, sendworkbook.com. So if you haven't already done it, you do want to go to sendworkbook.com, request your analysis, request your workbook, and we'd be happy to get that together for you. Again, it's just at sendworkbook.com that you want to go, and we're very happy to provide all this to you. Okay. I'm viewing on YouTube, don't have Facebook. May I receive the free workbook? Yeah, of course. Just go to sendworkbook.com. Okay, sendworkbook.com is the website. www.sendworkbook.com or https://sendworkbook.com. Yeah, you just go right there. You can get it, Ione. It's not a problem. Okay, Kathy says, if I have a Roth, are they taxable distributions? No, they are not, Kathy. Okay, Lori says, I'm 61 and my husband's 65 on disability since 2012. We started saving a 401k last year. This whole mess confuses me. Do we need more than one advocate, or does your company handle all that we would need for retirement? So Lori, we are a comprehensive retirement planning firm. Generally speaking, we can help you with about anything that you would need. If there's anything that is very common in the retirement planning community that we don't cover, we certainly would have referrals for you, but the answer is probably yes. You're welcome, Liz. Thank you. I'm glad this was helpful to you. Okay, Lynn says, my spouse passed away at 51. I'm now 60 and not remarried. How do I find out if I should claim on his or wait till mine? Well, the analysis, we could definitely help you there. It depends on quite a few variables, Lynn. But if you're getting the analysis, we will absolutely answer that question for you. Otherwise, I'd have to ask you a lot more questions. Okay, Debbie asks, would it make sense to not file for Social Security or work the last year before 70 and use 401k for that year's income? Maybe, Debbie. It depends on what you're planning to do, with in other aspects also. But that seems likely. Okay, that's that if you're planning to retire before 70 and you have that year, it's probably a great year to maybe do a big Roth conversion or draw down on the 401k to put a little downward pressure. I think you're thinking along the right lines. Good, Dwayne. Glad this was helpful. Fawjit, thank you. Appreciate that. Okay, Dinah says, when do you advise IRA annuities converted to Roth in terms of an age? Well, it depends on a situation. So it's not so much age-based as it is situation-based. So it depends on your tax situation, your other forms of income, what you're looking at, both short-term as well as long-term in terms of potential required minimum distributions. There's quite a few factors there in a recommendation around that. Okay, Lynn says, thank you. Okay, good, Lynn. Good. Glad this was helpful. Well, you didn't say it was helpful. You just said I gave you a lot to think about. Okay. Okay, good, Ron. Yep. I know you'll get a lot out of it. Okay, Gary says, if my ex-wife divorced 3 times after me, can she still get my benefits? Yes. Yeah, but it doesn't affect you, Gary. So if you're worried about that, don't worry. Okay, is Roth IRA subject to 72? No, it's not. Yeah, it's non-taxable, Kathy, and it's not subject to the required minimum distribution. Ron says, I want to understand more about spousal benefits. Best strategy for me and my spouse. Okay, Ron, great. Yeah. Well, I do hope you're getting the analysis then, because we can absolutely help with that. I think you even said that, looking for it in the analysis. Okay, good. Yeah, you'll get a lot out of the analysis, Ron. We'll absolutely deal with that for you. Okay, Bobby says, do you recommend IRA conversions to Roth for tax purposes due to 2026 taxes increasing? Yes. Yes, we have an entire presentation dedicated to taxes, and we spent a lot of time on that. It's very important, very, very important. It makes a big, big difference to a lot of folks. I can tell you that when the tax code changed to the current tax code, we had a lot of clients who were not doing any tax planning, who now in the current tax code are able to take advantage of a lot of tax planning. Okay, I am 68, my wife is 63, I plan to file at 70. If she files now for her benefit, what is the impact on what she'll get when I file later? Well, okay, so in order for her to maximize what she can get from you, she has to wait until her full retirement age. So there is a little reduction there for her filing at 63, but otherwise there's no impact. Other than the natural reduction of her filing at 63, there's no impact. Barbara is saying, I have begun the process for medical malpractice lawsuit that looks good for me. I'll possibly need to continue disability or retire before my settlement. Any thoughts? Well, the thought that I would have there is that you want to be mindful that a lot of disability companies, if you're getting some kind of disability check, will want you to file for Social Security disability. So just be ready for that. Okay, Natalie says, I was married for 11 years and divorced now for more than 10. His benefits would probably be more than mine, but mine are more than half of his. Yeah, so then you're just going to be dealing with your own, Natalie. Yep, so you not anything from them. Oops. Should I delay retirement? Well, I don't know, Barbara. I'd have to ask you a lot more questions to know the answer to that. Okay, Phil says, I get before taxes $1,500 a month for my state pension. Is this going to lower my Social Security benefit? It depends on if that pension benefit is a non-covered pension, Phil. If it's a non-covered pension, then the answer is yes. Well, maybe or probably. If the answer is no, then it won't affect Social Security at all. Okay, if you haven't already, again, please go to sendworkbook.com. Okay, sendworkbook.com is the place you can go to receive your workbook, receive the analysis. Okay, Barbara, please do not post my name with this. Well, I hope this doesn't count as posting your name with it. I'm sorry. You're asking in a very public forum. Just please be aware of that. You're welcome, Barbara. Okay. Lori says, thank you. You've been very helpful. Okay, good. Thank you, Lori. Okay. John says, my ex-spouse is already retired. She's older, 68. I'm 60. Can she file for my benefit before I file for my own? Yes, but you have to hit 62 first. Okay, Lynn, sign of workbook and the announcement. Okay, great, Lynn. Good. I know you'll get a lot out of the process. I feel nervous to click your thing, but I see your comment, Barbara. Thank you. You're welcome, Karen. Yep, good. Kathy, you're welcome. Thanks for being fun, Kathy. Tricia says, what is the best way to contact you and your firm to see what your rates are if I wanted to hire you? Well, the best thing I would say is to, I appreciate that you're asking that way because, we're honored by that you're taking it so seriously, Tricia. But we genuinely mean it. We would invite you to take advantage of the free analysis. That'll be a great introduction. You'll get a lot of value. And then that way, even if you decide that we're not the right firm for you, although I can't imagine why that would ever happen. But if it doesn't work out or we're not the best fit, then you'll still get some good value from our interactions. It's no big deal. We're happy to do that. Okay, Bobby says, how do we make an appointment to do conversions to traditional Roth? Well, there again, if you go through the analysis process, that is part of our analysis, is looking at some of those things. And then if we're going to assist you with it, we'll talk about planning fees or anything that might make sense for you in terms of how we would work together to provide that kind of benefit. But that's a very big part of our practice. We do a lot of Roth conversion planning with clients. So I'm certain we can help you with that. But if you go to sendworkbook.com, request the Social Security filing workbook, request the analysis, it'll take you through a process. I mean, one of your things will be, I need to do some tax planning. You'll say yes to that, and it'll take you through. And then you just say, yes, I want to schedule a visit, and it'll give you the ability to do that. If for some reason you just want to call us directly, our home office phone number is 248 275-1930, 248-275-1930. So if you prefer to just call, you're certainly welcome to do that. Okay, Edward Gruxa says, does Medicare Part B monthly premiums take into consideration my Social Security income? Only the amount that ends up becoming taxable and participates in your modified adjusted gross income. Okay, so the answer is maybe, probably yes, and again, it won't ever be all of it, but it could be as much as 85% of it, along with my pension and 401 distributions. Yes on those two. Connie says, what's a non-covered pension? That's a pension that you earned while you are not paying taxes into the Social Security system. So if you are working for an employer and you have a pension benefit, and those pension dollars, when they come to you, you receive those pension dollars, and that job didn't have you paying FICA taxes, it's going to be a non-covered pension. And so receiving the pension dollars and Social Security at the same time will reduce your Social Security, or could reduce your Social Security. Susan says, my husband was a Canadian citizen for the first 50 years of his life before moving, I assume you're saying, to the U.S. So I see you here, the U.S. After we married, he got a U.S. citizen and paid in Social Security. He passed away 5 years. Oh, okay, this is a wonky one. Passed away 5 years ago. Social Security told me I made more than he did. So there is reciprocity between the Canadian system and the U.S. system. However, because he passed away, that makes it not so sure. Okay, so you have to check. Okay. Well, that one would take a little extra work to figure out, Susan. Sorry to hear about that. Louise, okay, good. All right, thanks, Louise. Glad we can help. Okay, yeah, that's good, Tricia. Yeah, that's our, this is for the Einstein phone number, 877-532-0808. That's for Einstein Retirement Workshops, that brand. If you do want to call City Center Financial, our offices directly, our planning offices, is 248, and I see the question here, 248-275-1930. 248-275-1930 is our offices for planning. Okay, Marlene says, does it look like the windfall provision will be repealed? 50-50, Marlene. I don't know. I don't give it great odds. And it's good politics to say that I supported this, but I don't know that anyone is actually going to be able to pass it. The problem is Social Security is already in trouble, so eliminating the windfall elimination provision is not going to help Social Security sustainability. Okay, thanks everyone. Really appreciate your all's attendance. Glad for all the questions, and I enjoyed it. As I always do. Again, if you haven't already, please do go to sendworkbook.com, request your workbook, and then if the analysis is going to be helpful to you, just say yes. Say yes, I'd like to take advantage of that, and then we'll be happy to get you scheduled for a consultation and get the analysis going for you. With that, we'll wrap up for today. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook page. We do other workshops and events, and we'd love to see you at a future event and interact with you in that way. And so with that, we'll sign off for today, and I wish everyone a wonderful and good night. Thank you.